Podcast where I talk about my knitting. So today I am filming from Apple Valley, Utah. I came here to attend my nephew and his girlfriend Courtney's wedding on Friday, November 1st, and it was incredible. The scenery, just spending time with family in a different location like this, and I don't know, it was just magical. Luke is my sister Vicky and brother-in-law Jeff's baby of the family, and he got married in Zion National Park. So Zion is in Utah. There are these kind of craggy, beautiful, clay-colored mountains, and the brush is so pretty. I think I got a lot of footage of it when I was on a hike in Zion yesterday. So I will pop some of that in here, but it is just an incredible, I wonder if it's one of the 7 wonders of the world. I don't know. It's so incredible. You just cannot even believe your eyes. I was driving through Zion National Park yesterday, and I have a rental car by myself. So I was just by myself, and there's these hairpin turns, and you're just going up this mountain, and just these steep drop-offs, but the views are so spectacular. It's just incredible. And at one point on the drive, you go through this 1.1 mile long tunnel through a mountain, and it was built in 1930. So I was so freaked out. I was like, built in 1930. Is this thing stable? What if there's an avalanche? Or what if this mountain, you're just in your car, you just have to trust. And before you enter the tunnel, it says, make sure your headlights are on, don't get out of the car, don't stop, take your sunglasses off. And you're just for a mile I was white knuckling and just praying to God that the mountain wouldn't crash on top of my car. So, and you're just following other people, and it's just headlights. Every once in a while there'd be kind of a window to the side of a mountain, and so you could kind of just see some daylight I think there were 2 or 3 times in the tunnel where that would happen. So anyway, it was incredible. And even just landing in Las Vegas, I got to Vegas when I flew from Minneapolis to Vegas, and then it's a 2.5-hour drive from Vegas to my little tiny home where I'm staying. So in Vegas, I just couldn't believe, I think I knew there were mountains in Vegas, but I must have forgotten. When I think of Vegas, I don't think of mountains. But really that entire city is in a valley, and it's surrounded by mountains. And so I flew in around sunset, and so the sun was setting on these beautiful mountain peaks all the way around the perimeter of the city. And it was just pink, pink, pink sky and mountain backdrop. It was so pretty. So I got my rental car, and I kept going. I was following my navigation, and I kept going to every single exit to the freeway. It was telling me to get on 15 North. Well, I tried to get on 15 North literally 7 different times in 7 different places, I swear. And every time I would get to the exit for the freeway, it was blocked by a cop car and a policeman saying, blocking the entrance to the freeway. And I'm like, who is here? What is going on? And then later, a day or 2 later, I found out it was actually Kamala Harris and J-Lo were in Vegas. So that was pretty, that made sense, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. But it was very frustrating when I just landed and got off a plane and finally got my rental car, and I'm excited to get to my tiny house and have a little bit of sunlight so I could see this beautiful drive on the way to Utah, and I can't get on the freeway. It was so frustrating. So anyway, after maybe an hour, I don't know, and the traffic was just gridlock in Vegas, as you can imagine, because the freeway was shut down. So I just crawled along to get out of Vegas. But then and Sheryl Crow's Leaving Las Vegas was just like running through my head the whole time. Like, I want to leave Las Vegas. Anyway, so I finally got out of Las Vegas, drove in the dark. So I'm missing all this beauty on the way. And so I'm really excited to drive to the airport today. I'm just about to head out, like literally. I've got maybe 15 minutes and I gotta get all my stuff out of this tiny house. I will finally get to see all that scenery on the way back to the airport today. So that's pretty cool. So I drove through, at one point I stopped to get some food, and I asked the guy at the window, I was like, where am I even? I don't even know where I am. And he said, well, this is Nevada, but you're about to go into Arizona and then Utah. So, I must just be right on the corner of all these states. And yeah, so Minneapolis to Vegas, Nevada, Las Vegas, Nevada, into Arizona just for a blip, and then into Utah. But I knew I was driving over mountain passes and like in this beautiful scenery, and like some of the, even though it was pitch black, dark out, because there's something about being out here in Minneapolis and like Minnesota, I feel like there's ambient light, or there's a lot of light around. And out here in this desert, really, it gets really dark on the freeway. So I was just, for 2.5 hours, just, but it was great. And I knew when I got here it would be amazing. So I was a little scared of the tiny house situation. I'm like, is this tiny house out in the middle of nowhere in the desert? Am I going to be all alone and feel afraid and, just being on my own? And actually when I got here, it's this whole community of tiny houses called the Zion Tiny House Getaway or something like that. And it's just one tiny house after another. And so you've got neighbors, and it just is in a bigger neighborhood too. So, and right along the highway is kind of like right behind us. I think it's Highway 59 out of Hurricane. So anyway, I got here, it felt totally safe, found my key on the deck in a little lockbox, and it's been great. Like, sleeping up by the ceiling in this tiny house has been a little strange, but it's fine, It was fine, and I didn't see any spiders up there. So they must be really cleaning it out and making sure there's no spiders, which is great, because I'm very afraid of spiders. I think maybe more here in Arizona, the critter that people are more afraid of is snakes. Is that true? Some of you who live in Utah, I know somebody wrote to me on Instagram and said, I'm actually from Utah, you're having great weather. And we were. The day of the wedding was Friday, the 1st of November, and it was blue skies, beautiful, sunny day, amazing weather. I think it was supposed to be 52, but it was like 65 and sunny. I mean, it was so gorgeous. And then yesterday when I went to Zion, it was a little overcast, but it was still pretty nice. So anyway, I did wear, just briefly, my new petite knit, new to me, newly made, finished by me, Oslo Hat by Petite Knit. And that came in handy. I really love this hat. I wear it all the time. So yeah, this hat is just great. I brought that. I brought my new Scarf Shop scarf. So this scarf, it's 100% organic cotton, and I got this at Upstate Men in Grand Marais, Minnesota. I love Scarf Shop. It's based in Minneapolis, but he's been selling Scarf Shop scarves forever. And this color brings me life. So I love it. One of the little girls at the wedding, my niece's daughter, I saw her eyeing up and kind of like touching the scarf yesterday. She was so sweet. I think her name is Marin. But anyway, she was like, oh, she just loved the color. It's just such a pop of bright, cheery blue. So Anyway, can't blame her. And then all the kids. So at the wedding, both of my nephew, my niece, two of my nephews, one of my nephew's girlfriend's little girl, Olivia, and then Nori, and then Marin, were all eyeing up and touching this mohair shawl with a homespun house yarn. They were going crazy for this thing. I think just how soft it is, they couldn't believe it. And they were just like asking me all these questions about it. And I think maybe a couple of them are, we'll see, but maybe gonna get into knitting. I know Olivia goes to a Waldorf school. And so, yeah, that's pretty cool. And I'm sure just like all the colors and how soft it is, Marin said, oh, I want that as my blanket. I was like, oh, you do? And they kept asking me, what is it? Is it a blanket? And I said, it's a wrap. And they like just couldn't compute. Like, what are you talking about, a wrap? Is it a blanket? And I'm like, no, it's a wrap. Anyway, they were so cute. But I brought this on this trip because I wanted to finish the I-cord edging on it and then take a photo of this because I'm going to be asking for test knitters soon. Let me know in the comments if you want to test knit this. If you have a set of Advent mini skeins and you have some mohair or could get some and you want to use this, I think it's going to wind up using 22 20-gram minis from like a Advent calendar. I didn't use every gram of every skein, but I did I used some of 22 20-gram minis held with Esair mohair. So you could also just use a DK weight yarn because it's fingering held with mohair lace, which is a DK weight. So you could just use DK and it wouldn't be as soft, but depending on the yarn you use. Anyway, if you want to test knit this brioche wrap, let me know in the comments because I'm going to be doing a call for testers. And anyway, I wanted to finish this edging because I'm going around the entire wrap now with my last color from my Advent minis from a homespun house. And it's this nice kind of tan color that's speckled, and it'll just give it a kind of a cohesive look, I think. So anyway, I'm trying to get through this I-cord, but it's taking a little bit. So I did not get through it, and I was busy here. You know, I'm like seeing family and doing my thing. So I did not get through it, but I'm gonna bring it to, oh yeah, I wanna put a cozy on this thing. So this is a little cozy. I don't remember who I got it from, but a needle cozy, and I feel like it might be helpful at the airport if I put these needles into this cozy. Maybe they won't get taken by security. Hopefully not. It didn't happen on the flight from Minneapolis to Vegas, but you really never know until you get to that security station, like if they're gonna take it from you or not. So I just pop those needles in to that case. And then a funny thing, on my way back to Minnesota, my brother and I discovered that we are on the same flight back to Minneapolis. And we both picked the last row because I want to spread out with my knitting, obviously. But my brother, he's like, what seat are you in? And he's like, and we figured out we are literally we both picked the last row of the plane on the aisle seat so we could have open seats next to us. I mean, cut from the same cloth, right? So he was maybe going to take an earlier flight, but we will see. But yeah, I might be sitting next to my brother, and we both strategically picked the last row, so maybe we'd have the row to ourselves. So funny. So yep, I'll probably see him when I get to the airport, or maybe even at the car rental return place. But I gotta get packed up and get out of here. I gotta put the key back in the lockbox. I need to pack the car and figure out if I need to do anything at this place. I might just leave the recycling and the garbage where it is. I don't know if I'm supposed to bring it somewhere, but I gotta get out of here and get to the airport. I will show you a little bit of this place. So this is the tiny house. So you can see there's beds underneath the stairs right there. And then there's stairs that go up to this little landing. And yeah, this little landing is pretty cute. When you go up here, it's just like a little seating area, and there's skylights, all these windows. You can put these blinds up if you want, but I think that couch might come out into a bed because I think this tiny house sleeps 6 people, which is crazy to me. And then there's a TV. I was watching some podcasts up there. So anyway, yeah, this is the like underneath sleeping quarters. I don't like being on the ground because of mice and bugs and whatever, even though there probably aren't any in here. But then there's that little refrigerator, microwave, and then the staircase kind of just starts right there. And then this was my little sleeping nook. I didn't make my bed, but the windows are just like these little slits of windows, and then there's a skylight, and I could not believe the stars one night. Oh my gosh, it was so pretty. So yeah, that's that, and then, you know, pretty decent size bathroom, shower, and then again with these little slits, and you can see there's other tiny houses over there. Some of them have balconies, which is pretty cool. And then I'll take you outside so you can see the mountains. Whoops. Did I lock myself in or is this open? Oh, it was open. So this is, you can't really see the mountains today because it's overcast, but there's a big mountain under that cloud. So yeah, this is my little tiny house. And there's other ones over here. And all up and down that row. So yeah. Kind of fun, and I have my own little deck that has a grill and table and chairs and yada yada. So yeah, big memories. That's right. I posted a ton of photos on Facebook. I did not do a lot of photos on Instagram, but I will pop some photos and footage of the trip on the podcast. So super excited. I'm gonna head out of here. I cannot wait to see Matt and Yumi and Cloud. I missed my dogs and my husband so much. So I'm excited to get home and see them, and I will see you next time. Bye. Hello and welcome back. I wanted to pop in here really quick. I know I already checked in when I was in Utah, but I wanted to check in again really quickly just to show you my finally finished Brioche Wrap. And then I also have some works in progress, including a holiday knit that I want to update you on, and then a couple of book acquisitions. So stay tuned for all of that. First things first, this is the finished wrap from my advent calendar last year from a homespun house. So I got 24 little bags numbered 1 through 24 for every day of Advent in December 2023. And I made this wrap as only my second ever brioche knitting experience, but I decided to try to design something in brioche. So it was kind of like a challenge for myself, and it was really, really fun. So I started off with this. This was actually the cast on edge up here. And then I worked in a combination of 1 color brioche and then 2 color brioche. 1 color, 2 color, 1 color, 2 color, as I introduced all the new colors. And then there's a section that is kind of like an add-on section of this kind of like purple to blue, like periwinkle to blue. And then another section that I just picked up and worked on, which is kind of this beautiful teal color to green. And these colors are just so beautiful, into this mint color. So I worked on this on the plane back from Utah, and I was working on an I-cord edge. So I used color number 22 for the I-cord edge, held with Isair mohair. The whole thing is held with Isair mohair. And then I did an I-cord edge using, color number 22. I did not use colors number 23 and 24 from the Advent calendar. So if you got the Homespun House Advent calendar and you want to make this wrap, I didn't use 23 and 24. So you would just need to get some mohair, and you know what? Any other Advent calendar could work. As you can see, this is multi-colors. And so this happened to be a fade. It went from like light pink to purple, and then into some other purpley blues, and then blue, and then green, and so on. So this was a fade, but you could totally use any Advent calendar if you don't mind having just a really colorful wrap. So I have it kind of on here where the first color is in the front as almost like a cowl, and then the others wrap around like that. The way that I was wearing it, and maybe I'll show you. So before I move on, well, I'll tell you about this later. The way that I was wearing it, so you can see, here's the blue section, here's the green section. This thing is so colorful. What I was doing is kind of folding it in half. There's so many different ways you could wear it, but I folded it in half, and then I kind of put the blue section here like that, and then I just wrapped it around like this, and I kind of liked it like that. So yeah, lots of different ways you could wear this. You could wear it truly as a wrap, so you know, with the whole width of this not doubled up, and then just put it over your shoulders and just have something over your shoulders. But I really like this. It just brings all the colors to the front, and I like that a lot. And then, you know, if I wanted to wear it the other way, I'd go like this. So anyway, I love this thing. It is so soft. So soft. So anyway, if anybody wants to, if you have an Advent yarn calendar coming and you want to make this, all you would need is to get some mohair, and then, which I know it can be expensive. So if you have a DK weight yarn or a bunch of scrap yarn in DK weight, you could also, maybe it's like a soft merino or something, you could also use that. Or if you can't use mohair, you know, hold it with suri, alpaca, like a lace weight suri. Because usually people who can't wear mohair, they can use suri. So anyway, those are some ideas. Or, you know, this is fingering held with mohair, which is a lace weight, which equals a DK weight. But you could just use an Advent calendar of DK weight yarn, or any DK weight minis, not held with mohair or not held with suri. So that would make it a little bit more affordable too. So those are some ideas. And if you have a bunch of DK weight scrap yarn and you just want to make this in brioche and marl a couple of colors together, when you get to that, it's one color brioche, two color brioche, one color, and you just keep introducing new colors. I will share how I did it, but there was really not a ton of rhyme or reason to it. I mean, I just kind of went until I wanted to switch, and then I switched. But in the beginning, I really used up almost all of the yarn for each 20-gram mini that I used. And then towards the end, I kind of like left 5 grams of a certain color and left 5 grams because, or like 5 to 7 or 5 to 9 grams of the mini left because I want to make the cozy comfort throw that Molly is making from Homespun House. I'm so inspired by watching her podcast. She's making 2 blankets, knitted blankets right now. One is the cozy comfort throw, and it's all of these, is it squares or triangles? I think it's squares. Yeah, making all these squares, and then eventually it's a big blanket using, I think she's using her, like a combination of speckled yarns and then tonals, but I think she's using just mini skeins. And each one of those squares is 5 grams. So I figured if I had 5 grams left over of one of these colors, I could make the cozy comfort throw square. Then I could move over to the jelly roll blanket by Kay Jones from the Bakery Bears. P.S. Are any of you watching the Bakery Bears podcast? I lived in England for a year when I was in college. I lived in Birmingham. So in Birmingham is like considered the armpit of England, okay? It's like super industrial and but I know Dan Jones, her husband Dan, I think he's from York, which is a beautiful city. I went to York when I was there. Anyway, Kay Jones designed this blanket, or Afghan, or whatever, I guess a knitted blanket, and it's called the Jelly Roll Blanket. Everybody on earth is making the Jelly Roll Blanket, it seems like. If you're watching any podcasts, you've probably seen one by now. I think the guys from both Kevin and Ray are making a jelly roll from Needles at the Ready. I know the Crazy Sock Lady has made one. Molly is making one. A lot of people are making the jelly roll blanket. So if you have leftover skeins of tonals or speckled yarn or whatever, you just keep adding. And it doesn't matter how much you have, just keep adding to this blanket. It's like these strips. It's hard to explain, but I will show you a photo here. So my leftover yarn from a Homespun House advent calendar last year that I didn't use in this, look at this. These colors just bring me life. And they just keep changing. So anyway, I love this thing. Whatever I didn't use in this wrap, I am going to make those 2 knitted blankets. And I'm so excited. So that will be really fun because it's, again, you're just like keep changing colors and all those colors are just like so awesome for your eyes to take in during like the cold, dark, overcast winter. I don't know about you, but I live in Minnesota and it is very overcast and sometimes there's sunny but cold days, but a lot of it is overcast. So it's just so awesome to have something colorful on your needles in the winter, I think. So I think that is going to bring me some serious life in the winter. Speaking of which, I don't know if you can see my flowers back there. I really wanted to, this weekend, sorry, I'm all over the place, but this weekend I went outside and I clipped some of the last flowers that are growing in my yard. And I had to get rid of, do you guys know Mexican sunflowers? It's called Tithonia. Those red-orange flowers are from a huge sunflower. Like I think I planted 6 in the front yard by this lamppost in the front. And it was this huge mass of these Tithonia. But, you know, there are some really leggy bits. And so it's sometimes not super attractive. When it's all in bloom, it's gorgeous. But I needed to cut those down because they were looking really craggy. And these are the very last 2 flowers. And I love them so much. I love this little stone vase. So this stone vase, I think I got it from my mother-in-law. And here are some black-eyed Susans from the backyard. I was bringing this vase up to show you guys this morning. I had rubber, like hunter rain boots because it's raining outside this morning. I came up here and I was going to set this down on the desk, and I had other things in my hand, and the thing fell over and hit my toe. It hurts so bad. So I am going to have a massive bruise. It's like right over my big toe. Not on the toenail, luckily, but it was like on the bone, like right behind the toe. Anyway, so some black-eyed Susans from a couple of different varieties. You can see this one's huge, and then these are like small little guys. But anyway, I got those. And then I love how whimsical this one is. But yeah, this was one of the last ones, and this is just one stem. So pretty. But yeah, summer is officially over. These are the last things growing in my yard here in Minnesota, and it is warm comparatively to other years. And I have it in this, what is this called? Polish pottery, which is kind of like navy blue. Kind of matches what I'm wearing. I did not plan that. But navy blue and kind of like this lavender color. Polish pottery. So anyway, there is that. And they're just hanging out back there. Yeah, so trying to get my yard a little bit picked up and get things, you know, off to the compost and everything. So, yeah, so this wrap, back to the wrap. If anybody wants to test knit this, let me know, because I am about to send this pattern to a tech editor. And yeah, so if you are interested, I won't have it ready to go until maybe the end of November, beginning to maybe my goal should be the beginning of December, because then we have, you know, you're going to start getting your Advent yarn. I mean, I should say those of you who ordered an Advent yarn calendar, you will start getting yours. So I want you to have that. Also, one thing I just noticed was up here, and I got to talk about it. My husband and I have a friend, Doug Johnston, and his handle on Instagram is Hawk Trainer, like the bird, a hawk, Hawk trainer, Hawk Trainer. And he does these incredible baskets, and it's art. Like I don't know if you guys know Yoga with Adrienne, but she's got like some of these baskets. And anyway, this is a pencil case. I've got a crochet hook and some other things in there, but anyway, I love the pencil case. And one other thing, I am now on my second Doug Johnston backpack. So it's a backpack, but it's also just a tote. So you could take these handles off. This is the perfect knitting bag, I have to tell you. It's not cheap, but he's an artist. And there's like, you can pick what color thread. I have red on the bottom and then navy and white then white at the top with these two handles. It's so great. Like, say you're knitting at the beach. This thing, like, you're not going to get sand in your yarn because this tote, it's sealed, you know? But also, what is going on here? I feel like it just got wet. Oh, I think the counter was wet from the flowers. Anyway, this really cute toggle button clasp is great. It goes in this hole over here and cinches up, but it's still open. So you could have your yarn in there coming out. So sometimes I'm wearing this and I have yarn in the backpack. So I have yarn in the backpack and then I'm just like pulling yarn out and then knitting. Like if I'm waiting for a train or a plane or whatever. It's the perfect, you could have your project bag in the backpack, the yarn just coming out, and have your knitting up front and be knitting. Yarn comes over your shoulder. It's great. So anyway, these backpacks, go to @HawkTrainer on Instagram and follow the links and you could order one of these if you're interested. It is incredible. He's a New York artist. Like I said, my husband, I mean, it's really my husband who's friends with him, but I met him and we went to this place called the Smile Cafe in New York when we were there and got a basket. I think we got it for our friends Brian and Elizabeth, who we were staying with, to give them a gift. So we got them a basket from Doug and he brought it to the coffee shop and then we gave it to our hosts. But anyway, love this backpack. This is my second one. I like wore through the handles on the first one because I just love it so much. And I know I've talked about Christopher at Upstate Min, and he also has one. He's on his second one. We both saw each other. We ran into each other in Grand Marais, and we had our backpacks, and they were all both worn out completely almost. And we were like, let's order a new one. And we're like, yeah. And so we ordered at the same time. So funny. But anyway, that was a major tangent. Sorry about that. And then before we move on, I'm going to have a sip of my coffee. This is my cup from Staircase Ceramics, the peach mug. I bought my mom the peach mug and my dad the blueberry one, and this is the peach one. So cute. The lights are kind of blowing it out, but I love this thing. How many cups of coffee do you guys have a day? I wake up in the morning and I have 2 while I'm sitting on the weekend. I have 2 while I'm sitting there knitting in the morning on the weekend. And then I go to Zumba. I didn't go today because I knew I was going to podcast and I just get so worn out after Zumba. But I usually go to Zumba and then I come home and then I either keep knitting or whatever we're going to do for the day, but then I have another one in the afternoon. So this is my 3rd cup. I love coffee. And I have an espresso maker and then I put cream in. I love this thing. So it's starting to get cold, but that's okay. Next thing on the needles is something holiday related. It is sitting in this cute little holiday bag that if you watched Vlogmas last year, you would have seen it. It has all these little elves on it and candles and mistletoe. Super cute. And this bag is from a homespun house. It's a collaboration between Knitting Unicorns and a homespun house. I think when I ordered my Advent yarn last year, I may have ordered a project bag and a skein of sock yarn and a charm and then the Advent mini skeins. I went all in. But anyway, that's where this bag came from. And dun 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 dun, who else is doing the Arne and Carlos Christmas stocking knit along? Ta-da! My husband does not have a Christmas stocking. So now he does. This is going to be his Christmas stocking. Now, this uses typically Rowan Norwegian wool, which is Arne and Carlos's wool. And it is, this year they use Ribbon Red, and then Cloud Dancer is the white. So these 2 colors in the Arne and Carlos Norwegian wool, okay? It also uses their green colorway, but I actually prefer a like real green, like I think theirs is more like a forest green or some kind of green that I just am not fond of. And so I decided to use my Jameson of Shetland wool that I purchased to make a cardigan, but I'm going to use some of it for this stocking. So this is fingering weight yarn, and then these are DK. So a bit of a difference, but I'm holding 2 strands of this fingering weight Jameson of Shetland. And I don't know if this is called shamrock or Lucky Green, or I don't know. I'll put it in the show notes. But this is Ribbon Red and this is Cloud Dancer. And then, yeah, this green. That's very, I would call it Kelly green. So anyway, that's what I'm using. Now, when you hold the two strands of fingering together, I feel like it makes, oh, you can see where I'm going to put in the afterthought heel on the stocking on the back there. We just got to that section. And then there's a new section out today. So what they're doing is like a mystery knit along for this Christmas stocking. You guys, if you want this Christmas stocking pattern, go to arnecarlos.com, go to the blog, and you can download 6 rows of the pattern daily. And they also post on their podcast, they post those 6 rows daily until the end of this month. And then I think it's like December 1st or December 3rd, I can't remember. But the pattern is going to be a paid pattern at the beginning of December. The idea is that you knit the stocking in November, because last year they did this in the month of December, but then people are like, I want to have my stocking so I can fill it with gifts and things before the end of December. And so they did it a month earlier this year, but they're releasing 6 rows a day. Go to their YouTube podcast, watch to see the next 6 rows, and then you can download those 6 rows of the pattern on a daily basis by going to arnecarlos.com and then going to their blog. There's a link to download. And then at the end, you can download the pattern from like November 25th until December 1st or whatever it is. But you have that amount of time, download the pattern, and then it's a paid for pattern. Right now it's free. So my husband is getting this stocking, and it matches the colors of my stocking that my great aunt, my grandma's sister, Joanne Hafe, she made my Christmas stocking, and it is very special. I'm thinking about putting some mohair in the white. I gotta see what the white sections are coming up, but mine has a Santa with a beard, and the beard is like this fuzzy yarn, and so I kind of want to get some kind of fuzziness going on this one with something with the halo. So I might hold Isair mohair, but this is DK. How am I going to do that? Well, it's lace weight. Who cares? Like I was going to say, the 2 strands of fingering are not the exact weight of the DK. Usually it's like a strand of fingering and a strand of lace, like mohair or suri would make DK. So it's a little bigger than DK. Maybe it's like verging on a Aran weight, somewhere between DK and Aran. I don't know. But it is fine. I mean, it's kind of like a little bigger. I did go ahead and block this before showing it to you guys, but isn't that incredible? Norwegian, almost looks like Fair Isle when you get up here, but Norwegian colorwork, so fun. I cannot stop knitting this. I should be working on my book club cardigan, my own standards, but I want to be working on my book club cardigan, but I need to get this done for Matt before Christmas. So, and this is so addicting. So anyway, my trick with these patterns where it's a mystery knit along and there's a new section every single day, I go on my phone and I go to arnecarlos.com. Then I go to the blog and then I click on the link for the pattern for the day, and the chart just keeps growing every day. So you could just go to like whatever day it is, day 10, and download day 10 and get the gist. But I save it to my Google Drive and then put it in a folder with knitting patterns. And so I kind of organize my patterns that way, where I put it in a Google Drive. So yeah, otherwise you can just download it and print it or whatever you do, but I just have it on my phone and I just kind of like look up what's the next section. And then if it's 2 red, 1 white, 3 red in a row, I'll just be like 3, 1, 2 and know that I start with red. And I hold my yarn when I'm doing color work. This is just for fun, just to tell you. I hold 1 strand, and I don't even fuss around with like which one, because Arne and Carlos don't believe in dominant color, so I trust them. So I don't either. So anyway, I do two-handed color work. So I'll throw with this one, like flick with that one, and then pick up with this one, like a continental. So this is like English style where you throw it over the needle, and then European style or continental to, pick up from the finger. So I have it wrapped over, that white yarn wrapped over, and then I'll be like throwing with the red for this round. So that's kind of what I do. And it's so fun. It is so fun doing color work. I mean, just seeing the pattern reveal itself as you like follow the pattern. So fun. So last year I did the Arne and Carlos Christmas balls during Vlogmas. By the way, I don't know that I'm going to do Vlogmas this year. I'm just saying. Doing a vlog every single day on top of my day job, it was really kind of hard. I'm not going to lie. I have a very busy job. I'm an executive assistant to an executive at a big corporation. So I have a very busy job and it was hard to do that. So I don't know if I'm doing that again, but, oh gosh, I hope I didn't get a moth or something in here. No, did I? Anyway, here's my stocking. It looks like she changed colors, doesn't it? With this green, it's like light green on the bottom up until like right here, and then a darker green up at the top. Oh well, this must be in Tarja. But look at that cute Santa face. And then it has my name at the top. I wonder if I should put Matt's name at the top of this. I definitely am going to. Even if it's not in the pattern, I'm going to work it in. I might skip the top. So anyway, here are the two together. They are going to look great together. But yeah, I think that's kind of cute how she did. Now that I know how to knit socks, I can see that she did a heel flap and gusset, and then a contrast toe, and then the little spot for the name at the top. Adorable. And then look at this little chain with the red and green and white. Darling. So yeah, I have to make a little band for Matt's name here at the top. So I'm going to have to wing it on this one and throw a name up at the top. I did not get the contrast toe, but that's okay. Maybe I could still do the contrast heel. If they don't do a contrast heel in white, if they do it in red or something, I don't know. I'll do it in white so that it matches mine. I'm glad I got this out. But anyway, you can see the halo on his little beard. So yeah, there must be mohair or something in there. So cute. And I remember when I was a little kid, just like, I loved when this would be out. He has little flesh colored yarn on the face. So cute, in the rosy red cheeks. I used to touch this and just love how that felt. So there were a lot of knitters in my life, I guess. My grandma, my mom, Aunt Joanne. So no wonder I became a knitter, right? Anyway, lots of crafty people. So my sister, Vicky, she does. It was her son that got married in Utah. She does. And she and her husband watch the podcast. Hi, Vicky. Hi, Jeff. Thanks for watching. But anyway, she does quilting, and she is such a good quilter. She made me a quilt for my wedding. It is like my most treasured wedding gift. Love that thing. So I stopped using it because I was wearing it out so much, but I used it a lot in the beginning, which, you know, I'll probably pop it out and wear it again. But anyway, this sock, so cute. So these will be hanging up this year. He's had kind of a makeshift one, and it was just time for me to knit him a stocking. So yeah, that's what's on the needles there. And then I did buy, now I'm blanking on this. I think I talked about it last time. I'm blanking on this self-striping yarn. What is that? This was going to be my Sockoween sock with Kay Jones and the Bakery Bears. You guys watch that podcast. It's so fun. It's really fun for me because I lived in England, and so I love hearing about British things, and I watch British television. I mean, pretty exclusively watch BritBox for everything. I don't know. Like right now, Matt and I are watching Prime Suspect, my husband and I. I got him finally to watch British murder mysteries. So we've blown through Shetland, Vera, and now we're on Prime Suspect. He loved Line of Duty, and it sounds like they're gonna have another year of Line of Duty. I don't know if there's gonna be more than 1 year, but they're gonna do a revival episode, like year of episodes. I think it doesn't come out until like 2026, so don't get your hopes up. But anyway, here is the beginning of the sock. Super excited. You guys, I got this nail polish. Look at that. It's like lavender. It just disappears on my hand. You can't even see it. Have you guys ever had nail polish where you get the dip? I usually get gel, but my nails were getting so brittle and weak. So they said, well, why don't you do a dip? So I'm like, what even is that? I don't know. So I thought she was kind of like priming them. I thought I picked a white color, but it wound up lavender. And I thought this was like a primer. And I was like, I think I want to change the color from white to red. And she's like, well, we're almost done. I'm like, is this the color? Have you guys ever done a dip? I didn't know, like putting it in that powder and then she just like shakes off the powder and then you do that repeatedly and then it's just kind of done. Like, you know, she puts something shiny over it, but I was like, I picked white. It wound up lavender, and halfway through I really wanted to switch to red. Oh well, next time. Yeah, so that's as far as I got on the sock, but it's super fun. Again, doing something like this in color, where the color changes, it just makes it go by so fast because it's really fun to see what's gonna come next. And I have it in this little needle cozy that I bought, I think on Etsy. But anyway, some llamas, super cute. So even though this is magic loop, I just stuck my magic loop needles. I think for if I was gonna take this on the plane, I wanted to have it in a cozy. Cause I don't know, like if that's gonna like prevent them from taking my needles before getting on the plane. But they didn't take my needles in Minnesota or Utah, so it was good to go there. So yeah, that's the progress on that. And then I bought a couple of, I'm gonna update my patterns to make them more size inclusive. And while I'm at it, because I think I just got better as a pattern writer as time went on, I need to go back and update the sizing for the inclusive sizing, so a couple more sizes. But then also the way oh my gosh, I just looked out the window and there's a red cardinal just sitting on a branch. He's just like sitting there looking around. He was so pretty. Anyway, focus, Amy, focus. Yeah, so I need to update the patterns, and the way I was working with ease, I need to just change that up. And so I just need to read a couple of pattern books. So I bought Amy Herzog's Ultimate Sweater book. So I'm going to read up on this. And then I also bought the Knitting Pattern Writing book. So I'm going to do some research and see how other people, you know, what they say in these two books. I also have a Elizabeth Zimmerman book. And then I have this book, Knitting from the Top by Barbara Walker. And this is excellent, but I didn't read about pattern writing. I took a lesson from someone and then I just kind of called it a day and thought I could just figure it out. But there's some, for the first like 2 or 3 patterns, I think I need to go back and like update how I work with ease. Like I was trying to change the ease based on body, like scale. And so it's not like those first 3 patterns have 17 inches of positive ease on every single size. It was like the small has 13 inches of positive ease, the large has 17, the extra large has X number, and that just doesn't work. So I'm going to update those. If you bought one of those patterns, update coming soon. And then I also bought this alternate Rebellion. I bought this in Grand Marais at the bookstore. I just loved these Colorwork motifs on it. And yeah, I just bought it for inspiration. So there's tons of motifs in this book, like Colorwork motifs. So this will be really fun, almost like a Stitch dictionary to have for ideas when doing color work. And it also has a handy dandy, which I can use in my Arne and Carlos stocking. When I write Matt's name, it has these letters. So super fun. I'm excited to have this book. And then I also got this book, Mouche and Friends. I picked this up at the Yarnery. The Yarnery Moved. I went to go pick up a button. It was like 2 weeks later after I had picked up some buttons for my book club cardigan. I go over to where they used to be, and the store was like missing. I was like, there's no yarn in there, the lights are off, thing is closed, and nobody's home. But I apparently moved across town. It's still in St. Paul, but it's like on the other side of, like I used to go that way, east to get to the store, and now I go a little bit west. But I'm in Midway. So yeah, just the other side of St. Paul. So I'm so excited. And then the new shop is just awesome. There's just more space to move around and spread the yarn out. And there's workshop rooms and community knitting spaces. So I just am so happy for them. That's great. And I saw that Molly made a little Mouche and Friends animal. I think it was a squirrel maybe for her daughter. And I thought, how fun would this be if somebody has a baby? I mean, lots of my nieces and nephews have had babies. And I'm not saying I'm going to make this for every baby. Maybe one will get this at some point. But because it seems really intense. But look at, I mean, the orangutan's so cute. Look at the little lamb. The little lamb with those fluffy loop stitches. Oh my gosh, so cute. And I love this raccoon with the little color work, like, or striped sweater. So cute. Look at the orangutan. Oh my gosh, I'm in love with these guys. So anyway, Mouche and Friends, seamless toys to knit and love. Can you imagine a little kid just dragging this thing around? So darling. By the way, I did not go to Rhinebeck, and I had major FOMO once again. Not quite as bad as the year before, but I will definitely be going next year. Like, no question about it. And I watched Tell Me About Your Rhinebeck Sweater from Christy Glass, and then I watched Skein Cocaine had an episode, and those two rode up. I think they ran into each other in New York, and Christy was like, hey, Gina, do you want to ride up with her daughter, Gina's daughter? Do you want to ride up to Rhinebeck together? And so they did. And anyway, I laughed so hard. Gina from Skein Cocaine was saying the entire ride up there, she was like looking over at Christy Glass and her perfect skin. Oh my gosh, I laughed so hard just imagining that. It was so funny. Gina, you are so funny. If you are watching this, Gina was one of the first people that on my Vlogmas kind of encouraged me, because I did Vlogmas and I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to keep this podcast going. And Gina said, I hope you keep going. You're really fun to watch. So thank you, Gina, if you are watching this. And not that you are, but if you are, thank you, thank you, thank you. Anyway, I think maybe I showed you guys. Oh, I also bought, because I am obsessed with Summer Lee Knits and her socks. Did you guys buy, she was releasing, she has like a year of socks, a year of sock patterns that she's releasing once a month. And the one from Halloween is so cute. It's like a pink sock with this little white ghost. So cute. I know she buys Knit Picks Stroll yarn. So I went ahead and I love the pink and the red that she buys, and then this little mint color. So for one of her socks from that monthly sock pattern, I don't know what you call it, release, there was a Colorwork sock that used a lot of these colors, and I am going to make that one. I'm so excited. And I also wanted to get the white sock yarn, which is called, what is it called? Stroll sock. I can't remember it, but it's just the white. And I bought this thinking it was a skein of yarn, but no. It's like, what does it say? Stroll sock dye blank. What even is that? Does anybody know? I assume it's like, I wonder if I could like unravel it and use it as sock yarn. I have no idea. But anyway, I think what it is like if you have hand dyed yarn and you want to test if it's going to bleed onto a light colored yarn, because it's called a dye blank, or I have no idea. Does anybody know what you do with this dye blank? I can look it up online, but if anybody knows, let me know. And then before we go, I know I was wearing this earlier, and this is the Mender's cardigan by Brioche Wrap, and the yarn is La Bien-Aimée in either DK or worsted. I can't remember what the pattern calls for. I think it might be DK. Anyway, I got these tortoiseshell buttons and I love this cardigan. This is probably my most worn knit, honestly. I know a lot of people are making cardigans this year. I wear cardigans so much more, and I actually commented on somebody's Instagram post and I was like, I think I want to take my Marie Wallen Colorwork sweater and steek it up the front and make it into a cardigan. Because I just don't wear it very much as a sweater because I get too hot. But if it was a cardigan, I bet I would wear it more. So anyway, I lost battery there for a second. I'm back. I wanted to show you guys. I can't remember if I have not made barely any progress on this because I was working on my wrap. And then I was working on Matt's stocking. But I did knit a little bit on the other sleeve. But did I show you this sleeve? So this sleeve is done. And I love it. It is so soft because it's held with mohair. The sheep that this came from, Flynn, is Romaldale? I can't remember, but anyway, it also is, the yarn was from the sheep and then an Angora goat. So it already had mohair, and then I'm holding it with mohair, so it's like doubled up mohair. The gist is it's very soft. So this thing is so soft. I cannot wait to get this done. So that is going to be next on my list to finish, but I can't believe I forgot to share this with you. I got in the mail, I got a Homespun House Advent calendar. So this year, it looks like this. Last year, it was in these little bags. If you go back to my vlog, if you haven't seen it, I did Christmas Advent calendar mini skein reveals every day of Vlogmas 2023. And this year, it is so cute. Look at this box. And it's like a chocolate Advent calendar. So it has the days, and then you pop out the mini skein on every day of Advent. So 1 through 24. Here's the back. So cute. Little Christmas scene. I am so excited about this. So yeah, you can see the perforated and the numbers on there. Just like a chocolate Advent calendar. I'm so thrilled. So this is going right up here. I've got my little Santa. I'm ready to go. Sitting sitting over here. Anyway, and then I also have I think I also got a stitch marker and then a Advent skein of yarn. Like a full skein of sock yarn. Maybe it's like 100-gram skein. And since I showed you the Doug Johnston bucket and then my backpack, here's another example of his work. And it's holding these flowers. But anyway, so pretty. A little flower vase. And these flowers I picked up when I was with Gina and we went to the farmer's market. They're just like those little straw flowers that you see in the fall. Aren't those pretty? Ugh, love. So anyway, that vase is holding those flowers and I just noticed it and it's the Doug Johnston, so I thought I'd show you. And then just to get the mood going here while I'm podcasting, I have this fall harvest anchored Northwest candle. I first was introduced to these candles from a homespun house because Molly put it in the box of Hygge last year. And that one, oh my gosh. The one I had, it was like cardamom and cinnamon and I don't even know what all. I think it was called, oh yeah, it was chai a little harder. Like chai tea. Chai a little harder. That one, the smell was so amazing. And this one is great too. Smells a little hint of apple and then some other things. What's in there? Citrus, cinnamon, chrysanthemum, apple, berry, green leaves, pecan, and cedar. So good. Anchored Northwest. It has a wood wick in there. I love those wood wicks because as you're sitting here, you can hear it crackling sometimes and it just is totally bringing the cozy vibes. So anyway, that's all I have to share with you today. What are you guys watching? What are you reading? I am finishing up the Throne of Glass series by Sarah Maas and I am obsessed. I was going through 1 through 7, but I stopped and went back and read like the 0.5, I can't remember, book, The Assassin's Blade. So I'm reading that and then I have the 8th book and then I'm done. So, I'm so excited to get to the 8th book. So anyway, I am very excited to finish that series. And then I bought the Sarah Maas Crescent City books. You guys. And then I think I'm caught up on all things Sarah Maas. Okay? Look at these books. Look how thick they are. I've been reading her books on my Kindle and I'm thinking about returning these, but maybe I'll just keep them and put them in the little free library. I'll like maybe bounce back and forth between my Kindle and reading the actual book, although that's a waste of money. But look, they're so thick, especially this hardcover one. Think about that. That's my finger. It goes up to my, what is that? Like past my knuckle. Anyway, these books have been bringing me life. So I am really enjoying these books, along with every other woman in America, I feel like, is reading them, and across the world. But anyway, it's like fantasy romance. So I think it's called romantasy, is the genre, the unofficial genre. But anyway, these are so fun. I goaled myself to read 12 books, and I think I've already read 16 because of Sarah Maas. I can't stop reading these books. So anyway, I'm reading that. And then Matt and I said we were watching Prime Suspect. I've already seen it all, but I'm just watching it again with him. And then one of our all-time favorite shows on HBO is Somebody Somewhere. Oh, gosh. It's written and directed, and the actress is in it, I think. I can't remember her name in real life, but she's a comedian. She was on Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee with Jerry Seinfeld. But anyway, she is a comedian, and it just follows the lives of these people in a small town, and it's very, I don't know, it's very funny and charming and sweet and woke, and I don't know. It's just very, very good. Anyway, if you watch it, you'll know what I mean. Very sweet and very funny. And I Yeah. I'm trying to think of anything else. Like what series we've just finished, but I can't think off the top of my head right now. But yeah, Somebody Somewhere on HBO, I believe. All right. Or maybe it's Hulu. Can't remember. But anyway, hope you're all well, and I will see you next time. Bye.